Introduction. Let's talk about manipulation. Let's start with something important. Manipulation doesn't always look scary. It doesn't always involve threats, shouting, or obvious control. In fact, the most effective manipulation often looks like kindness, attention, or care. In this video, we're going to talk about dark psychology, not to scare you, and not to teach you how to use it, but to help you recognize it. Once you understand how manipulation works, it becomes much harder for anyone to use it against you. Emotional flooding. When it feels too good, one of the first manipulation tactics is something called emotional flooding. This happens when someone suddenly gives you a lot of attention, affection, compliments, or emotional support very early on. At first, it feels amazing. You might think, wow, this person really understands me. But that's the point. Emotional flooding lowers your emotional defenses. It creates comfort, trust, and emotional dependence very quickly. Manipulators often choose people who feel lonely, insecure, or emotionally drained, not because they are weak, but because they are human. Love denial. Nothing is ever their fault. After the intense kindness, something very different often appears. Whenever a problem comes up, the manipulator never takes responsibility. It's always someone else's fault, or your fault, or just a misunderstanding. They may deny things they clearly said or did, and they do it confidently. The goal is simple. If you start doubting what you saw or felt, they gain control. Forced reinforcement, reward, and withdrawal. Then comes a very subtle tactic. At first, they are kind no matter what you do. Later, kindness becomes conditional. When you behave the way they like, they are warm and supportive. When you don't, they become cold, distant, or silent. You may not notice this consciously, but your brain does. Slowly, you learn that obedience brings reward, and independence brings emotional loss. This is conditioning, inducing fatigue when you're too tired to think. Manipulation works best when you are exhausted. Mental fatigue makes it harder to think clearly. Question behavior, or set boundaries. Stress, overwork, and emotional pressure drain your mental energy. And when you are tired, you are easier to influence. Subliminal influence, planting ideas quietly. Some influence happens quietly. Ideas are repeated again and again, sometimes through tone, suggestion, or subtle messages. You may not notice them consciously, but over time they start to feel normal. Choice restriction, the illusion of freedom. Another powerful tactic is limiting your choices. The manipulator makes you feel like you are choosing freely, while all real options have already been removed. You are not forced, you are guided, and that illusion of freedom makes control very hard to notice. Press like and subscribe button. Reverse psychology, saying the opposite. Reverse psychology is another common technique. The manipulator tells you not to do something, hoping you will do it anyway. This works especially well on independent or intelligent people who don't like being told what to do. If the manipulator predicts your reaction correctly, they influence you without pushing at all. Mind games, confusion as a weapon. Not all psychological games are bad. Surprise parties and jokes are also games, but dark mind games are different. They create confusion, self-doubt, and emotional instability. Some manipulators continue these games not for a goal, but for excitement or control, and the damage they cause can last a long time. Denial of reality. When normal changes. One of the most dangerous tactics is slowly changing what feels normal. Small problems are minimized. Bigger problems are explained away. Over time, unhealthy situations start to feel ordinary. And when that happens, reality itself becomes unclear, weakening mental health step by step. All of these tactics work together, not suddenly, gradually. Small doubts grow bigger. Confidence turns into self-questioning. Eventually, the manipulator presents their version of reality as the right one. Transfer of control, when confidence moves away from you. Here is something very important. Manipulators usually do not attack your willpower directly. They weaken your judgment instead. As your confidence goes down, theirs goes up. Slowly, decision-making moves from you to them. That is how psychological dependence is created. Conclusion: awareness is protection. Dark psychology works quietly, not through force. Awareness is protection. The more you understand these patterns, the harder it becomes for anyone to control you. This is not about fear. It is about clarity. And clarity is power.